Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the Four Wide Fantasy Podcast. We are so glad that you decided to come back with us and that listening to our football takes and hearing our banter and being a part of this amazing relationship we have with each other and now with you. We are on week 3, episode, I guess it's episode 3. Is it episode 2 or is it episode 3?
Episode 3.
Following
episode
the week 3 for week 3. I don't know what we
episode 2. Episode 2. You're right.
Episode 2. Season 1, episode 2. Yeah. Talking about week 3. We're so glad you're back with us with your hosts, Matt, Shed, Olu, and Will. On this episode, we have some exciting stuff we're going to do today. What we got for you is first, we're going to have our week 2 fantasy results and reactions. Things we learned from week 2. We're also going to share with you how we did. I got some great news to share and some unfortunate news. After that, Will is going to take us through our injury roundup. This was a crazy week for injuries.
Brutal.
We'll get more into that. After that, we're going to go into our top performers, but we're calling it something different this time. We're simply calling it, Did You See What He Did? Okay, we're going to talk about our top performers who were our top performers from last week. Then we're going to go into our Don't Overreact, which we also renamed Whoa. Slow down. After that, we're going to give you some fantasy tips going into week 3, matchups to exploit, matchups to avoid, and then my favorite segment, we're going to go into our single game mock draft. Before we go any further, let's hear about how you guys did in week 2. Shed, enlighten our listeners.
All right, so how we did in week 2 or general reaction?
How about either or?
Okay. All right. Okay. Here's my reaction from week 2. The question is, will the Bengals miss the playoff?
Yes.
So here's the thing. Since 2002, so spending the last 20-ish years or so, 7 teams, including this year's Bengals, have gone 0-2 overall and also 0-2 in a division. Of those 7 teams, so 6 teams so far, neither of the 6 teams have actually made the playoffs. And I think this year the Bengals will be the 17th, making it 7 for 17, who started 0-2 overall and 0-2 in the division will not make the playoffs. Keep in mind, Burrow's hurt. He limped into the season. He's going to limp out of the season, right?
Oh,
the team's not doing too well. His 2022 stats, the 2023 stats, 15 air yards or more in 2022. He had a QBR of 89.5. 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So far in 2023, get this year, 15 air yards or more, he's 0 for 11, 0 touchdown, 1 INT with a 0.7 QBR. 0.7. Let that sink in a little bit. Yeah, so I think my prediction is the Bengals will not make the playoffs this year.
That is so bold, bro.
It's bold, but it's a year delayed Super Bowl hangover, right? That's what it is. It's a 1 year delayed hangover.
That is so wild to think because the Bengals, I mean, I think most people had them not only going to the playoffs, but possibly even winning their division. And for fantasy implications, the Bengals were a gold mine with Burrow, Chase, Higgins, Mixon. That's a bold take, but it's believable at this point. You go 0-2 in the NFL.
0-2 and 0-2 in the division. That is hard to dig out of. Golly.
And think about it, they're also in the AFC, which is a lot harder, a lot stronger, deeper teams there too.
Yeah. Olu, what do you have to say about it?
And I think what makes it worse is Burrow is struggling with a calf injury. And from just recent athletes we've seen, calf injury, if you push it too much, it usually leads to Achilles tear. So, you might want to take it easy on him. So we don't wish that on him, but that's something to look out for, to be honest.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, the nagging calf injury. So, Olu, how about you, man? Week 2 reaction. Okay. How did you do in fantasy?
So there's a thing out there that Ohio State quarterbacks don't do well in the NFL. It's a fact. C.J. Stroud is legit. I don't care what anybody says. C.J. Stroud is legit.
You want to crown him now?
No, he's absolutely
crown him what?
best Ohio State quarterback in the NFL.
Legit. He is legit. Okay. So we have Houston, right? Houston's offensive line, they ranked 29th in the league. 29th in the league. And despite that, CJ Stroud leads the league. He's fourth in passing yards. He was sacked. He has been sacked 11 times in 2 games. 11 times in 2 games. In week 2, he was sacked 6 times. He still threw for 384 yards with 2 touchdowns. And then he also had 9 quarterback hits. But he still stands in the pocket, delivers the ball to his receivers, and he distributes the ball to all of his receivers. So we had 3 of his receivers were significant in fantasy this week, and I had 2 of them, so I know. So
you know.
So I know. So CJ Strauss is legit, guys, and it's someone we need to really start to show some respect to.
What you got, Shed? You want to say something about that?
Yeah. So what's interesting, Olu, is I follow you because today I was looking at some NFL stats, looking at some passing stats, and I saw CJ Stroud named there at 4. I was like, really? So I was kind of impressed. Yeah. I mean, it is 2 weeks, but that's very impressive for a rookie being 4th in the league.
Ranked offensive line. Sacked 6 times, hit 9 times.
Gosh.
That's nuts, dude. CJ Stroud, like, I'm one of those guys who has always said, I can't trust an Ohio State
quarterback.
Yep. Right.
And you look at the track record, and I think the guy who's probably had the most success at Ohio State was Terrell Pryor. And he didn't even have success as a quarterback. It was as a receiver for 1 year. Yeah, so, like, to think that C.J. Stroud can break the mold. Now, obviously, we're only 2 weeks in, but for what he's doing with the talent that he has, C.J. Stroud's turning heads, man. I love it. You got to love to see that. It's good for football.
Yeah. And he's a really good, quiet leader. Very quiet, very patient, very calm. He doesn't get too rattled. He's just in the moment. So I like him.
Will, tell us about your week 2, man.
Okay, so here's my reaction to week 2 and even the season so far. So overall, this has been a historically slow offensive start to an NFL season. And there's theories out there about starters not playing in preseason, having all the practices be no contact throughout training camp. And it's a slow start. But in the midst of this slow start, here's my takeaway. Baker Mayfield is looking like a real quarterback. I never would have seen this coming.
You better stop.
Let's say a friend of ours traded for him in Dynasty in the offseason, and we all destroyed him for that. But he's looking like a real quarterback. Mike Evans has led a lot of teams to a 2-0 start in fantasy because of that connection. Rashad White went off this past Sunday. Even Godwin has had 2 decent games. He's in the 12, 13-point range, which is a lot more than I expected with Baker Mayfield as the quarterback. So that's my takeaway. He's looking good. I think it has a lot to do with their new offensive coordinator, Dave Canales, is putting together a good plan.
Absolutely.
It's so funny. Baker's that guy that we all want to hate on.
I know.
But when you look at what he's actually kind of accomplishing, it's like you got to give the man his credit. Like,
yeah, you got to give him credit.
He's doing something, you know?
And I think it's the perfect time for him because he's been humbled in this league because he came in with a chip on his shoulder, super arrogant, and I think this time was good for him where he had to be humbled, and now he really understands what it means to really start from the bottom. So
right.
I think
he's staying within his limits. Right. He's just execute the game plan. He's learned. You're right. You're absolutely right. He has learned what he is and what he isn't. And he's trying to play to what he is. And 2 weeks in, it looks good.
Yeah, it's so true because it's like he starts his career as a number 1 overall pick, has a decent rookie year. Then his sophomore year, they bring in Odell Beckham. The hype is crazy. He's on all these commercials. Totally stinks. They cut Odell Beckham. Then they end up, don't they cut Baker in the middle of the season? Or no, he doesn't. They trade him. That's what it was. They traded him to Carolina, and then Carolina cut him. Wow. My week 2 reaction, call me a homer, but the New York Football Giants. Okay, let me just say this.
What's your reaction? Tell us your reaction.
This is my time. They lost 40-0 week 1. I didn't want to hear anything. They were down 20-0 in the first half. I said, this stinks.
The overall.
Then they won 31-28. Daniel Jones threw 26 of 37, had 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then he rushed for another 60. Hello. My reaction is I'm just glad the New York Giants are a legitimate team. Guys, what's the greatest city in the world? It's Paris. New York.
Paris.
Wrong. When New York is good, the world is a better place. Olu, am I right? You're from Brooklyn. Come on, baby.
No, Brooklyn. But I have a question though. Who are they playing?
It doesn't matter who they're playing. One of my old roommates, shout out to my boy Roach. He's a diehard Colts fan.
Roach.
And, my boy Roach. Yeah. He said to me, Matt, he put in a group chat. He's like, Matt, I've seen what tanking looks like. That was not a win. That was a tank by the Cardinals. Hey, I don't care what it is. It's a win. All right? It's a win. Also, by the way, I won all my fantasy leagues over the weekend. Happy about that too. So anyways, let's move on, guys. Let's go to the injury roundup. We might have to take a little bit of time on this one. Will, talk to us about week 2 injuries.
Okay, this was a brutal week. What I'm going to do is quickly go through the 5 major injuries with implications. I'll run through, and then let's talk about this and how this is going to affect those teams and the league overall. So first one is a bit more minor. Saquon Barkley with the ankle. It looks like he's going to be out a few weeks. The implications, what I'm going to put out there is this simply hurts the entire Giants offense. I would not trust Matt Breida, Gary Brightwell. Those are not guys you want to be starting. Look elsewhere for running back help if you have Saquon. He's going to miss a couple weeks. The other is Joe Burrow with the calf. It looks like he's day-to-day. Best case scenario, worst case, it might be week to week. If he misses time, that whole offense is going to suffer. So Jamar Chase is off to a slow start already. It might be worse for him. Higgins, Mixon. Going to be hard to trust the Bengals offense. Getting into longer-term injuries, Deontay Johnson has now been moved to IR with the hamstring, so that's a minimum of 4 games. I would say, as we watched in the game last night, Monday night, George Pickens is going to be getting a lot of looks, a lot of targets. Pat Freiermuth is also probably going to be in good shape. So those are the 2 players who I would say benefit the most with Deontay out. Austin Eckler, this was a surprise to me. This news came out after the games on Sunday. It looked like he was just going to sit out one match, but now there's no timetable for his return. He could miss a few more weeks. I would say the stock is up on the Chargers wide receivers, but don't trust their other running backs. Joshua Kelly's not going to give you much, but I think they'll be passing even more than normal. Now, this last injury, we got to take a moment, and we just have to mourn the loss of our man Nick Chubb. If you watched the Monday night game, this was one of the more brutal knee injuries we've seen. Shed is pouring one out.
Pour it out.
I was just about to do that. I was making sure my leg was tight.
Here, we all got it. This is for Chubb. We're sorry, man. It's confirmed he is out for this season. That's. I mean, best case scenario, it's only 1 season he misses. The fantasy implications, Jerome Ford looked really good against a good Steelers defense. I think if you had Chubb and if Ford is still available on waivers, spend all your fab on him, get him, whatever it costs. He's going to be a solid running back the rest of this season. I think even if they bring someone else in, Ford will still be good. There might be more passing volume going forward because they relied so much on Chubb. I don't know if they can lean on Ford as much. So there might be more volume for guys like Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, even David Njoku. That's our injury roundup. What do we think, guys?
Yeah, any reactions? Go for it, Shed.
Yes, so it's interesting. So I also heard rumors that Jonathan Taylor could be in the mix, possibly. I mean, that'd be a lot they have to give up. Kareem Hunt
to the Browns, you mean?
Yeah, to the Browns, right?
Okay.
Kareem Hunt could be in there, and also Cam Akers. Because the Rams are looking to trade Akers. Right. I think because Ford performed so well, it makes sense for them to actually keep him. But because they're so run heavy, I wouldn't be surprised if I think Jonathan Taylor might be too much like a Cam Akers, maybe because the Rams are willing to part with him, so they might be able to get him on the cheap. So having a Ford Akers combination or Ford even Kareem Hunt combination, I think that would suit well for the Browns.
You know what my new name is for Cam Akers? Scam Akers.
Scam.
Don't do
Scam
it.
Akers.
Cleveland, just don't do it. You have better options.
My thoughts on what you said, Shed, is I think from an NFL standpoint, bringing in another running back helps the team. But from a fantasy standpoint, I would never grab, like, if the Browns bring in someone like Leonard Fournette or Kareem Hunt, they weren't there during the off season, during the training camp. They've got Kareem Hunt. He was there last year, but it's a different. These guys. I can't. Besides McCaffrey last year, I have a hard time remembering a running back who was added to a team mid-season and was a fantasy contributor. Most of these guys, they're moved and their role is very minimal.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but the only one I can remember in recent history is McCaffrey, who was traded midseason and actually had some fantasy implications. But correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone else want to react to any of the injuries? I think it's so funny. Well, not funny, but I have Pat Freiermuth in a league, and I thought with Deontay Johnson going down, Pat Freiermuth's stock would go up, and the man got 1 catch for 2 yards.
Yeah.
I'm like,
but that's not going to be normal. I think that was a blip.
Normal. It can't be normal. No way.
Because I think that's not. Sorry, guys. I think that's not lie because number one, they're playing a huge division rival in Browns, and it's a really good defense. And Kenny Pickett was flustered all night. It was pressured all night, so I think that affected them a lot.
Well, let me ask you guys this question. Do you think right now, where the Steelers are, do you think Pat Freiermuth is going to be a contributor in their offense? Because in week 1, he only had 1 catch. In week 2, he only had 1 catch. Third year is supposed to be a breakout for tight ends. The Steelers were supposedly going to have a better offense, but Najee's not a factor. Freiermuth's not a factor. Deontay's injured. So my question, do you think Freiermuth and the Steelers' offense can get going anytime soon? What are your thoughts?
So I have some stock in this Steelers offense, and I'm regretting it quickly. I think it's their offensive coordinator, Matt Canada. The fans were chanting to get rid of him during the game. They need to get rid of
that guy.
Terrible. Because it's the same game plan every time, the same rhythm every time. You have stars. Freiermuth is a star at the tight end position. George Pickens, he had 4 catches. There could be a lot more volume going to him if they game planned correctly.
Yep.
And with Najee and Jalen Warren in the backfield, you have this potential thunder and lightning dynamic, and they just do not play into that. So I think it's bad game planning that's holding them back. It's not a lack of talent. It's a poor plan.
No, not at all.
And it truly shows how important the offensive play caller and system is to an offense. That you can have all these names, but if the play caller is not innovative, then what does it matter? Where you see a guy like Andy Reid, almost anyone who goes in that offense could be a contributor, right? So, anyways, go, Shed. Why don't you say something and we'll move on?
No, just quickly. Like a great example of that is last year, Ravens had Greg Roman, right? And their offense had got kind of stale. They weren't really moving quickly. Now they got Todd Monken. I was watching the Ravens game. Lamar was slinging. He was throwing the rock. He was throwing the ball. I was impressed. So having a great offensive coordinator makes a huge difference. And Will, you bring up a great point. I was kind of down on Freiermuth, kind of like you, Matt. I have him in one of my leagues. I expected more out of him. I was thinking about not starting him in week 3, but there's opportunities there. You just got to get the ball in his hands.
Yeah. Injuries are taking a toll around the league, but it's football. We hate to see it, but it's part of the game. Let's move on. Next segment. Did you see what he did? Let's talk about our top performers from week 2. Shed, start us off.
Yo. Okay. Did you see my man, Puka Nacua? I'm all fingers in, toes in, elbow in, wrist in, hips in.
Vince Carter
in. Right, exactly. So look, I'm on. This guy is spectacular. As if he couldn't have done better in week 2, he did do better. So give you an idea, week 1, he had 15 targets, 10 receptions for 119 yards and 28 fantasy points. Week 2, he said, I'll take that and I'll raise it. 20 targets, 15 receptions, 147 yards, and 38 fantasy points. So he added 10 more fantasy points. Think about it. And this is his fantasy points are without having a touchdown. So when he gets his TDs rolling, this guy is going to be amazing. He's setting rookie record for the most receptions in the game, the most reception within the first 2 games. And here's what's interesting is that he's getting 39.5, we'll call it 40% of the Rams' target share and 43% of first read target share while playing 70% on the perimeter. So when you're getting 43% of first read share, that's a deliberate action. McVay is intentionally trying to feed him, get him the ball. Like, a lot of people are like, okay, this is a first 2-game wonder. No, I am sold on this guy in this offense. He is going to be legit.
Yep. Okay. I think everyone's loving Puka Nacua right now, right?
Yes.
I mean, you gotta love his game. You gotta love his name, Puka Nacua.
Puka.
Pookie.
No, he's killing it. He's killing it. Of course, the burning question that we all know is, is it sustainable once Kupp comes back?
Once Kupp comes back.
That 40% volume is going to shift over to Kupp. And so it's going to matter, how they scheme him, how they plan once they can open up that whole passing game. It'll be interesting to see if he can keep it. He's not going to keep up what he's done these first 2 weeks. I'll say that much. But can he keep up good value?
So
talk about it.
So yeah, that's why I said he's playing 70% on the perimeter. So Cooper Kupp is a slot guy. So there are targets for him and Cooper Kupp. Now, is he going to produce 38, 28 every game? Probably not. That's going to probably take a drop back. But that's if Cooper Kupp can stay healthy. A, if he comes back, and B, if he still is healthy, because he has a hamstring injury, right? These things tend to linger. But worst case scenario, he scales back to maybe 20, 22 points a game. I still think there's opportunity out there for both of them.
Yeah. Top performer. Did you see what he did? Olu. Who do you have?
Oh, I have my boy, Nico Collins.
He killed him.
That's my boy. All right. Nico Collins was drafted in 2021 in the 3rd round out of Michigan University. Go Wolverines. Okay. So they've been waiting for him to pop for the last 2 years. I think he's finally hitting his strides. Okay. So he has had a total of 226 yards, which is the 5th in the whole entire league in the Texan offense. Okay. And out of those 226 yards, he has 76 yards after the catch. So out of that's a huge percentage. Okay. Almost 50% or 40%. Okay. And also he gets 5.8 yards after the catch. His PFF score is 89.0 in week 2. So I feel like Nico Collins has really come to himself as a wide receiver 1, and he's gonna be formidable in this league. So I think he's someone we should all watch out for. He's actually only 44% rostered in Yahoo Fantasy. So people should go pick them up if they don't have them. If they don't have them on their roster. So Nico Collins is someone that you want to watch out for. And every week we will always be saying, "Did you see what he did?"
Every week.
Every week, huh?
Did you see what he did? So you think you think every week we're gonna be saying, "Did you see what Nico Collins did?"
Yes, it's yards after the catch is ridiculous. He's 6'4", 215.
We know.
He could get the ball. So he's amazing.
I picked him up in the league, so I hope you're right. Will, how about you? Who's your top performer? Did you see what he did?
Did you see what Brian Robinson did on Sunday? 87 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. He also added 2 receptions for 42 yards, so he's getting it done on the ground through the air. 28.9 PPR points on the ESPN scoring. He is another guy that led a lot of teams to victory last week. All indications are that Washington wants to feed him. Gibson is gone. The rookie they brought in, Chris Rodriguez, he's not going to do anything. It looks like Brian Robinson is the guy. Washington wants to run the ball. I think this is a guy that's going to take a lot of people to the playoffs and beyond this year in fantasy.
Oh, yeah. I like him. The only reason why Brian Robinson might have started off slow last year is because the man got shot in the leg. Like,
yeah, that'll hurt.
That'll hurt. But he's back. This coaching staff believes in him. I don't think Rivera drafted Antonio Gibson, but he drafted Brian Robinson. Unless I'm mistaken, I could be wrong.
I think he drafted
Brian
Gibson.
Robinson. You think he drafted Gibson? Oh, so he drafted Gibson, then drafted Robinson? Well,
I believe
Robinson's
so.
stock is up.
Oh, yeah.
Robinson's stock is way up. I like him.
But here's the thing. You said he started slow. He didn't start slow. People just paid attention slowly to him.
Brian Robinson didn't start slow last year?
He was shot. But as soon as he came in, after his about 4 years, four games, he came in hitting the road. Like he put up a lot of numbers for playing only 9 games.
No, he's so good. Far, he's got it.
What were you gonna say, Shed?
So far, I'll say I'm 2 for 2 on. Did you see what he or 2 for 3? Did you see what he did? Puka Nakua's on my team. Brian Robinson on my team. Olu, I'm gonna trade for Nico Collins this week. All right, so
Olu,
I'm gonna go 3 for.
No.
I don't know. I don't know if you have my guy. I don't know if you have my guy. But the guy I want to talk about is the guy. Oh wait, what's that, Olu?
No. I was gonna say I just need some respect in the fantasy league we're a part of with my drafting skills.
No, Nico Collins he's gonna do great for you. Matt, who's your guy? Tell us about this guy.
So my guy is the guy who has the reputation for being the most underrated and undervalued receiver in the NFL. Because people always say he's never rated high enough, but I want to give him his shine, and that is, of course, Keenan Allen. Listen, I think it was on episode 1. I was big on Justin Herbert and him being a great fantasy quarterback and just what the Chargers can do. I believe in the Kellen Moore offense.
Okay.
What Kellen Moore was able to do in Dallas, I think he has more talent in San Diego. Keenan Allen, where does he line up? In the slot. Where did CeeDee Lamb take a good percentage of his snaps? In the slot. I think what Kellen Moore is going to do is he's going to scheme Keenan Allen in a similar way that CeeDee Lamb was used. I don't think Keenan Allen is as talented as CeeDee Lamb. However, in this system with the more talented quarterback and with the compliments of Mike Williams, Quentin Johnson, who on record, I've said I think he's going to be a bust, but I think this offense is going to boom. Keenan Allen had 8 catches, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The man probably won many of people their fantasy weeks. He won me 2 of them. I have him in 2 of my 4 leagues. I'm very grateful for Keenan Allen. The guy's going to continue to ball out. I think he's going to be a darling the entire year. Will, what do you think?
No, I have to take this moment and just pile on. We got to give Keenan Allen his flowers. I don't know why he has had this reputation for the last few years. People thought, he's injury prone. Or, you can't rely on him. The man just gets it done. He is an elite route runner. He does not drop the ball. He has this connection with Herbert that's so obvious. Keenan Allen's killing it right now.
Yeah, I think my thought with that is like, okay, so last year in the offense they had, you got to remember, I emphasized this 2 episodes ago, Justin Herbert had the lowest average depth of target in like the league. Like he just wasn't going down the field. And Kellen Moore is going to go down the field. And so I think this is going to open up something for Keenan Allen that we haven't seen recently for Keenan Allen, where he's not just doing these small little routes, these ins and outs. I think he's going to get down the field a little more. 8 catches and 111 yards. Sheesh, that's a lot per reception. But anyways, let's go on to the next segment. We're going to talk about, slow down. Okay?
Relax.
Slow your roll.
Don't overreact. Don't overreact about these guys, okay? Shed, start us off.
Hold up. Wait. Let's slow down. Let's slow down here on Treylon Burks.
Speed up on Treylon Burks.
this one's for you. This one's for you, Will. This one's for you, Will.
Tell us.
Don't let the 76 yards this past week fool you. This guy is too up and down. This guy is too inconsistent. 1 week he'll give you 15 points. The next 2 or 3 weeks he'll give you single digits. So I will say he's definitely gotten better from last year, right? But the signing of D-Hop definitely pushed him down the pecking order. And this is being on a low volume passing attack. So he's 3rd on his own team in targets. 3rd in targets, and he has 7 targets for the entire year. 7. Not receptions, 7 targets for the entire year. D-Hop is out-targeting him 2.5 times, and this is the middle of a pack passing game with Tannehill throwing only 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions this year. So let's pump our brakes. Let's wait. Let's slow down on Treylon Burks. Will, relax.
So you would not recommend trading for him now? Just leave him there.
No.
Okay.
Give him time. Let's see what happens. But this week, let's chill on Treylon Burks.
Chill on Treylon Burks. You guys have anything you want to say about that, or we want to keep it moving? Olu.
Okay.
Who's your guy?
I'll say slow down the hype on Trevor Lawrence.
Oh.
It's all the way down. He actually has one of the best nicknames in the league, which is the Prince that was promised. But I'm sorry, he's falling flat.
Oh my gosh!
I'm not even gonna quote stats. I'm just gonna go by the eye test. When I watch him play, he seems scared of the ball. He seems scared of
the ball.
He's afraid to throw it. Like he's flustered in the pocket. He doesn't want to. He's afraid of turning the ball over. He's very trepidatious. And I'm like, isn't this guy the chosen one? The guy who was supposed to be the biggest prospect out of college, never lost a game in high school, never lost a game in Clemson. Well, he did lose once. Yeah, when I watch him play, he doesn't pass the eye test. He's scared. He sees the rush coming. He has a lot of offensive weapons, but he doesn't use them. He doesn't use them at all. So I would say slow down the hype on Trevor Lawrence. He hasn't done much in this league. And I hope next year he doesn't go get paid $55 million for doing nothing. So I just really want everyone to just slow down.
Wait a minute. Now, hold on. This might open up a can of worms.
Oh, yeah.
I too think, I'm going to go to Will in a second, but like before I said, the name of this podcast is 4 Wide. I think that was a wide take, but
that's the wide take of today.
Talk to him, Will. What do you think about that one?
All right, I have so much stock in Trevor Lawrence this year. So this is one of those things where, like, you have your 401k and someone starts talking about it and you get scared, so you have to immediately defend it. That's how I'm feeling. This is my 401k, my mortgage. I have so much on Trevor Lawrence.
Don't die on me, Trevor.
Don't die, Trevor. No, I think he's going to be fine. They had a dud against the Chiefs, and even it was the whole offense. Calvin Ridley did nothing. He lost people their fantasy week. It was almost a worst case scenario. And then Zay Jones, who it looks like has gone up above Christian Kirk as in terms of the trust level, he was hurt. He was not there. That it was just they were all over the place. Trevor Lawrence, I think he's going to be fine. The Jags are going to be fine. I think he's still got it. You're scaring me. You're scaring me. I have way too much put into this man right now.
Take a look at this, right? He was supposed to throw a back, what do they call it?
Back shoulder.
Back shoulder. This dude threw a bullet. I'm like, whoa. Even I can do that. So he kept overthrowing in the end zone. He could have scored a touchdown in the red zone. It was a disaster. And the Chiefs' defense is not that good. They're not like a top defense. They're middle of the road defense.
Shed, what do you think? This is generating more content.
So I've never been I don't think he's gonna be bad, but I've never been sold on him on being this great top 3 quarterback. Like, I think he's gonna be 8 to 10 quarterback. That's kind of where I see him at. I've never been he has, to Olu's point, he's only thrown 2 touchdowns and has 1 interception this year within 2 games. Like, someone of his ilk, there's a lot of people that was bigging him up, talking about he's going to be the MVP this year of coming out. But he's only thrown 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Somebody of his ilk probably should have thrown at least 4 at this point, right? Something more substantial to kind of back up his stock. So you're not too far out there, Olu, but I wouldn't say he's going to be horrible, but I'm not reaching to say he's going to be like a top 3 guy.
I just don't think he's going to be one of the top 5 anytime soon.
Let's keep it moving. I love it, Olu. I love it. Will, who's your guy? Slowed down on this guy.
Slow down. Do not push the panic button on Jamar Chase. I know it has been a horrible start. A lot of people picked him 3rd or 4th overall in redraft this year, expecting him to just put up 15, 20 PPR points every week. It has been a worst-case scenario, terrible start for him. Obviously, his quarterback is not healthy. Their offense has not hit its stride. But slow down. Jamar Chase is going to be fine. If you have him, inevitably people are going to be sending you lowball offers. Don't do it. Don't do it. Hold him. It is going to pay off. He's going to be fine.
All right, guys. Jamar Chase. This might be a juicy one. Do you have anyone have anything they want to say about that? His value is still high.
Yeah, his value is high now, but if something happens to Burrow is out for a substantial time, that's going to impact his fantasy value. Who's their backup? I don't know who their backup is, but he's not going to be sufficient enough to give him some fantasy value here.
Is it still Brandon Allen? Is that guy still around? I have no idea who the Bengals backup is, but if you don't know the backup's name, it's not going to be good.
It's not good at all.
You know, my guy, I want to say slow down on Kyren Williams. This is an interesting one. Now, his number, I mean, the guy has scored, 4 touchdowns? I think 3 or 4 touchdowns in 2 weeks. He may have the most touchdowns of any running back. I think he's the running back 1 or 2 in fantasy football right now. And who in the world knew who he was before the season? I'm going to say slow down. Don't sell the farm to get Kyren Williams, the starting running back of the LA Rams. Some of you guys might have been thinking, who is Kyren Williams? Exactly. Now, I'm probably going to try to make a trade for Kyren Williams in my Dynasty League because I lost Nick Chubb, unfortunately.
Gosh.
But I'm saying slow down, so maybe I should listen to my own advice on this one. I'm saying slow down on Kyren Williams. I don't believe in the Rams' offense as much. I do like Puka Nacua, but I just don't believe in what they're doing. And I think Kyren Williams is feasting on opportunity. But I'm saying slow down on Kyren Williams. Anyone else want to chime in on that?
I'm going to wait till our next segment because I have something to say about Kyren Williams that Matt may not like.
Well, I hope I do like it if I end up trading for him.
That's true. Hey, fair point.
Shed, what do you got on Kyren?
Yeah, so I'm gonna. So I think people are still thinking the Rams of 2023 are Rams of 2022. They're different. There's a lot of opportunity going around. They like to throw the ball. Cam Akers is out. Kyren Williams is in. There is going to be opportunities. I'm not saying they're going to be a good team overall. All I'm saying is that offense is going to produce, and there's going to be a lot of people who benefit from that. Puka Nacua, Kyren Williams, Tutu Atwell so far, Kupp when he gets back. There's going to be a lot of beneficiaries from this offense. So I'm a fan of the Rams offense and anybody they can put back there.
This was me trying to use Jedi mind tricks on Shed so that I can have him
decrease his value. Exactly.
Ola, what do you think about Kyren Williams?
I think is a puppet under the puppet master's hand.
I love this man.
This guy's philosophical.
Sean McVay, my guy. Sean McVay.
I ain't nobody's puppet.
It doesn't matter who's in the backfield. As long as you use RB1, you're gonna see carries. You're gonna see yards because it's Sean McVay. And guess what? I heard a good take today. Okay, so the take is it took Sean McVay 1 year to fix his offense, his O-line, his receiver room, and he's taken Belichick over 4 years to do that in his offense. So I just want to throw that out there.
We will
never miss an opportunity to come after Belichick. You should know by now.
I just want to let you know.
You know what? I'm going to shut that down now. Please,
save us.
I'm going to have to.
Yeah.
I know Olu wanted to go in.
Keep us afloat.
Olu wanted to go in. So let's move on. Matchups to exploit. We're going to move forward here. We're going to talk about guys that you want to make sure you get in your lineup for week 3. Who is the matchup to exploit? Who's going to go over their projections here? Shed, start us off.
So I think so. Will, you were talking about Baker Mayfield, and that's who I'm leaning on this week. Baker Mayfield versus the Philadelphia Eagles secondary. Yes, the Eagles secondary, their defense has a lot of injuries that's going on right now. However, it doesn't entirely excuse how bad that they've been. Entering week 3, their opponents are averaging 106 QB or quarterback rating, 326 yards. They've given up 7 touchdowns with only 1 interception. When the Eagles aren't recording pressures, they're giving up big plays and first downs. Did you know that they're actually number 1 in first downs allowed this year? They're giving up the most first downs out of all the defenses. And also think about it. Mike Evans is coming to town. He had a big week last week. He's looking to get paid. And like you were saying, Will, the Bucs offense, shall I say, surprisingly kind of good. Right?
It looks good so far.
It looks good, right? So this week, I would say you need to start Baker, lower your expectations on the Eagles' pass defense. My prediction is Baker will have a top 10 passing stats this week.
Top 10 for Baker?
Hey.
Top 10.
Is that another wide take?
That might be more wide than Trevor Lawrence being done. That's bold.
I love it. Hey, listeners, I hope that Shed just got you a win in your. He's gonna get you a win in your fantasy take.
Put Baker in.
Sit Joe Burrow. Play Baker Mayfield. How about you, Olu? Who's your guy? Matchup to exploit.
So matchup to exploit. My guy is Rashid Shaheed versus the Green Bay secondary. So I feel like Rashid Shaheed is such a underrated receiver in fantasy. Who should be on everybody's roster? Okay, he's the third receiver in the Saints receiver room. So you have Michael Thomas, you have Chris Olave, and you have Rashid. So Rashid gets a lot of one-on-one opportunities with the third string cornerback, and he's their speed threat, not Chris Olave. Chris Olave is the X, yes, but he's their speed threat. So even one target for Rashid Shaheed can go as far as 60 yards for just one target, and he gets targeted quite a few times. So I feel like he's going to have a really, really big game with the Green Bay secondary. So Rashid Shaheed is mine.
I love how Olu's always like digging down deep into his pockets for some of these guys. But, hey, I love it, man. The depth.
I'm always right, or I'm always right.
No, hold on. Yes, you got to dig down deep because he's going to be there on waivers. I think he's a worthy pickup. But I got to call you on one from last week, okay? DeMario, a.k.a. Pop Douglas, did nothing. Nothing Sunday night. So, yeah, all these people who added him after your flaming hot take, I'm sorry to our listeners. But let's see what happens with Pop Douglas.
Okay, now I have to respond to that, okay? It's because you called me out my name, so I have to respond.
Keep my name out your mouth.
Tell us about Pop.
Here's the thing. I think we should have a rule of thumb, right? Don't ever pick any Patriots offensive player for fantasy.
You told the people to pick them, though.
You told the world
for a second who their coach is. Do you know what happened with this dude? He had a great first snap, and he had the ball, and he was going with the ball. And somebody came from the back in defense and made a great play and stripped him. Do you know he got benched for the rest of the game because of that?
Yeah, Belichick does that.
He didn't fumble. He just got stripped. So even in the Boston media market, they're crucifying him for doing that. It's like you're a losing team. Why would you do that to one of your best players? So that's a lot to say about that.
Okay, let's see if it's different with Shaheed then.
Okay, let's see.
Let's see. Will, who are you warning our listeners? Don't play this guy.
No, I'm saying play this guy.
Oh, sorry.
So
do play this guy.
This is where I'm pushing back on Matt's take. I'm going to boldly say start Kyren Williams this week. The Bengals' rushing defense is terrible. They have given up almost 400 yards through 2 weeks of this season. So the Rams, to Olu's point, McVay is going to scheme to open up running lanes, create opportunities. Kyren Williams is going to have another strong week. After week 3, I'm not going to make any promises, but this week against a really weak, wide-open Cincinnati Bengals rushing defense, confidently start Kyren Williams as your second running back or in the flex. He's going to be great yet again this week.
Kyren Williams. Shed, talk about him. That's your boy.
That's my boy. So, Will, I was interesting as you were talking and breaking down stats for me. Thank you very much. I was looking to make sure I actually have him in my lineup this week, and I do have him in my lineup this week. So, those are great stats.
Yes. You will appreciate that decision, no doubt.
Wow. Kyren Williams. Okay, he might be the guy we talk about going forward. If the Rams offense does wake up, maybe we're talking a lot more about Kyren Williams. My matchup to exploit, I love the guy. Justin Herbert. Here we go. I have shares of the Chargers stock. You know, I've talked about it before when I talked about Keenan Allen, so I'll try not to double dip too much. But he's playing against Minnesota. Minnesota's 0-2. I think Minnesota finds themselves in shootouts. Right. Well, not shootouts, but they gave up, I think, 26 points week 1, and then they gave up 36 points week 2. Teams are scoring on Minnesota, and the Chargers can't run the ball right now. Week 1, yes, they were running the ball, but they had Austin Eckler in week 1. Week 2, yes, they were playing a great rush defense, but they didn't have Austin Eckler, and they only rushed for 60 yards, a measly 60 yards. That's pathetic. I think the Chargers are going to throw the ball a lot. I think they're going to throw the ball against Minnesota. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Get Justin Herbert in your lineup. That's my matchup to exploit. Anyone want to chime in on that?
No, the Vikings defense is terrible yet again. Can we just acknowledge our man Kirk Cousins as we talk about the Vikings? This dude does not deserve all this hatred. What is he supposed to do? The defense cannot stop a nosebleed. My man's throwing for 4 touchdowns and losing the game. The Vikings just don't have a complete team. They do not have a complete team. I would start almost any. I would start I would start C.J. Stroud. I would start Justin Fields against the Vikings, and I would consider Zach Wilson against the Vikings. That's just a matchup you're gonna love every week. It's terrible.
That's that wide take again. Don't do that,
Zach
Will.
Wilson. I don't even know if
your emotion clouded your judgment.
I don't even know if they play the Vikings this year.
Can we just say, I think we all watched the quarterback show, the quarterback docuseries on Netflix. I think Kirk Cousins should run for president. Like everybody loves Kirk Cousins. The guy loses a playoff game, goes home, takes out the trash, bathes his son, prays with his son. Who doesn't like Kirk Cousins, right? You know, but yeah, I feel bad for the man. Like, he's doing everything he can. The team is scoring points, and the defense just can't stop anybody. That's why I'm saying start Justin Herbert. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Let's move on, guys. Matchups to avoid. I think we've done pretty well in this segment in the past. I could be wrong, but I think we're doing really well on matchups to avoid.
Yes. Listeners, you should be grateful.
Yes. Shed. Matchup to avoid.
Okay, listen here. I feel deja vu. Something that happened week 1, I feel it's going to happen week 3. Daniel Jones versus a good defense. Matt was spit up his water.
Oh, my God.
Daniel Jones versus the 49ers D. Do not start Daniel Jones.
Get him out of the lineup.
Do not start Daniel Jones. Get him out of the lineup. They need Saquon is out. Protect yourself. Saquon Barkley is out. This offense needs Saquon in order to be productive. Daniel Jones needs him as well. 49ers are second in the league with 4 defensive interceptions and 2 defensive touchdowns. The rush defense is a top 5 in the league, and they've only given up 1 rushing touchdown this year. This isn't looking good for Daniel Jones. This is a great defense coming in. There are injuries all over the place. The offense had to come back and score 21 points to win last week. We're facing a team that's 3rd in the league in sacks. Avoid this matchup at all costs. Take this man out of your lineup.
Yep. Will, you want to chime in on that one?
Yeah, I'm going to say that's the Thursday night game, which for me is another factor because I feel like historically on these Thursday night games, when you do have a great defense, they tend to play even better than normal because the offense coming into it only has 3 days to prepare. And when it's an elite defense like the 49ers, you're not going to be prepared. The Giants just had this epic comeback against the Cardinals. Saquon, I mean, even if he heals quickly, he's not going to play on Thursday. Let's just be honest. There's absolutely no way. We all saw what his leg looked like around the ankle. Daniel Jones is going to be a bust this week. Yeah, just stay away. Stay away from that one.
Yeah, I hate agreeing with it, but yeah, they can't pass protect for anything. And he's going to have a hard day. It's going to be pretty rough. It's going to be a violent game.
Yes.
Let's move on for time's sake. Olu, matchup to avoid.
Stay away from Ramondre Stevenson.
That's all you have?
No, just stay away from him because he's been averaging about, he's been averaging 2.8 yards per carry. That's not good at all. 2.8 yards per carry. Yeah. And now he's going up against top 3 defense in the Jets. So he's not gonna have any much carries or yards in this game. So you want to stay away from him. And the O line, the Patriots O line is ranked 28th in the league. So you have a bad O line. You have a running back who's been averaging 2.8 carries, and now you have one of the top 3 defenses. So that spells disaster. So that's someone you want to stay away from. I know he's a fantasy darling that people love to put on his roster. For this week, you might want to bench him.
Ooh. Wow. You know what's so wild, Olu? You said he was averaging 2.8 a carry. And I looked that up right away. I was like, no, he's looking at something wrong. The man averaged 2.08 yards a carry week 1 and then 3.33 in week 2.
Yeah, it's bad.
Absolutely.
Terrible.
That is terrible.
It's been bad.
Oh my gosh.
And this is not like phenomenal defense. I mean, the Eagles defense did good, but week 1 they weren't that good. It's just against the Jets defense, the Jets D line.
Divisional game. In a divisional game. Shed, what do you think about it,
man? And knowing Zach Wilson is not that good, so they gotta overcompensate.
So from a fantasy perspective, you're not going to get points. First of all, it's odd that he was such a fantasy darling last year, right? He was doing so well. This year, he's not doing as well. But your fantasy points aren't going to come from his rushing. You're going to get his fantasy points from his receptions. Receptions. In his receiving game. Like week 1, he had 6 receptions for 64 yards. So that's 12 fantasy points just right there. Week 2, he had 1 reception for 10 yards, and he also had a touchdown. So that's kind of where your fantasy points is going to come from. But I mean, he was so good last year. This year, he's taking a step back. I'm so surprised, but that's fantasy for you, right? When 1 year you're the darling, next year you're a dud.
Wow. Let's keep it moving. Matchups to avoid. Will, who's your guy?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say sit Josh Jacobs this week. And to everyone who drafted him in the first 2 rounds, I am just sorry. I'm sorry for you. What a brutal start for this man. But this week especially, the Raiders are playing the Steelers, who have a great running defense. Even though Jerome Ford was able to run all over them, I think that was an anomaly. The Steelers have a good rushing defense. The Raiders are also going to be likely playing without Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers. So the Steelers have every reason to stack the box. Jimmy G, we know, cannot carry a team through the air. He's not going to win you games. Steelers will stack the box. I don't think Jacobs is going to get you much of anything this week. Go ahead and take him out. If you have any other running back with a chance to get more than 12, 15 points, go ahead and make that change.
You know, I remember Olu was hyping him up at the beginning of the season, how his ADP was too low. I co-signed it, said the man was disrespected, and 2 weeks in, it has not been pretty. Olu, do you have any rebuttal for that, or are you kind of just like, yeah, I don't think Jacobs is that guy?
He is that guy, and that's why I'm surprised. So I just say Because remember, he's been away. He wasn't in training camp, so you don't expect him to come hitting the road running. He needs ramp up time. He missed preseason. He missed training camp. He missed OTAs. Everything because of the money dispute. So of course he's gonna need time. But eventually, it's still just Jacobs. Come on, guys. He's
He
top five.
missed training camp. Maybe it's just going to take him a minute to get going. But I do think with Will, it's probably not going to happen.
Did he have 370 carries last year? Is this the curse of 370?
I don't know what the man has right now, but I think he had -1 yard total rushing.
No, he did.
So
he did.
For reference, the reference, I had more rushing yards than him last week.
You did. No, I think last year, I think it's if he did have more than 370 carries, they say the curse of 370. The next year, you're not the same.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Let's Shed, go ahead, weigh in on it, and then we're gonna move on.
Yeah. So Will, last year he had 340 carries last year.
340.
So he 340 carries, but then he also had receptions as well too. So, but he was close there.
Okay.
So if this isn't a curse, then I don't know what this is, because -1 yard rushing is bad, man.
He just needs
My matchup to avoid, it's not necessarily a person. I just want to share something with our listeners. Oftentimes, a running back will get injured. We've seen it happen to Nick Chubb. We've seen it happen to so many people. They'll get injured. And the first thing you want to do is run to the waiver wire. You want to spend some fab, and you want to pick up a backup running back. And you're always wondering, who do I drop for this running back? And too often, you drop someone who's actually probably a better fantasy football player than the player you picked up. Because the reality is, a backup running back is exactly what that is. A backup running back. Most of the times, these guys, yes, they get opportunity. And in fantasy football, you do want to chase opportunity, but not at the expense of talent. I think so many guys have gotten overdrafted and overhyped. I look at Alexander Madison. I look at how many people ran to their wire to get Joshua Kelly this past week. Now, there are outliers. I think Jerome Ford, I think he's a baller. I think he's good. And that system is going to work for him. But the majority of these guys, people try to think they could just plug them in and that they will perform just as well as their predecessor or as the guy that they're replacing. And more often than not, that is not the case. I hate to say that, but it's not the case. That's just my idea. I just want to say avoid backup running backs who are now getting placed in the running back one role. And again, this is my Jedi mind trick on Shed to trade me Kyron Williams.
That's right. No, I think you're right on that. There are rare exceptions, right? Like Austin Eckler was a backup and obviously became who he is now. Jerome Ford might be an exception to that, but by and large, that's true.
Yeah, because what people see is they see opportunity. They see, oh, okay, this is an opportunity. They're going to be able to create and get points, but the talent's not there. Like you said, Matt, the talent's not there. You end up dropping somebody who's good. That's why week one is usually when I make my biggest free agency moves. But then, like after that, I'm very hesitant of dropping players.
Yeah, this is great, guys. Let's move on to our last segment. Okay, our last segment, a fun one. We're gonna give you guys our single game mock draft. Okay, once again, this is where we take the Thursday night game. Well, we did Thursday night last week. We're gonna do Thursday night this week. Maybe we'll keep it to Thursday night, but we take the Thursday night game and we have a single game mock draft where we will draft only the running backs, receivers, and tight ends. We will keep a score. We'll keep it going throughout the year. Last week, we drafted between the Eagles and the Vikings. And let's just say this, put it this way. Shed is sitting at 24.9 points.
Ouch.
Olu is at 34. Will is at 31.3. And yours truly, Matt, I am at 40.8. Now, mind you, Shed is at 24.9 because he drafted Justin Jefferson.
That's all he got.
Who did not play, which was unfortunate. We gave Olu flack for drafting DeAndre Swift.
Killed it.
And that man balled out. So here we go once again. Today we are choosing from the Thursday night game, the Giants and the Niners. My New York Football Giants against the San Francisco 49ers. Today we're going to go in the order of Olu, then Will, then myself, then Shed. So we're going to change it up each time, and then we'll snake draft and bring it back the next way. So, Olu, you're number one. Who do you want at number one in our single game mock draft?
Olu, don't get cute.
Should I get cute? Should I get cute with it? Should I get cute?
Actually, yes.
Don't get cute, Will.
Yes, please do. Get cute, Olu. Do something cute right now. Please help me out.
No, I'm going
Olu likes to dig deep into the pocket.
I know. I go CMC. I won already. I won. Game is over.
Isn't that what you said last week?
Yeah. I mean, did I win? No, you won.
Well, we'll keep it going. But next, Will, who do you have? And number 2,
okay.
Christian McCaffrey's off the board.
McCaffrey's off the board. I can't go to the Giants offense this early. Second pick, not against the Niners defense. So I got to stay with the Niners offense. I'm going to go ahead and take Deebo Samuel, and I'm going to hope Ayuk is out. So give me Deebo for this game.
All right. This is not an easy choice. Yeah, I mean, everything's telling me to go with this guy. Let me check Ayuk's injury really quick. We didn't even – Will, you didn't talk about Ayuk in our injury report.
No, it's as of right now, it's not confirmed. So it's hard to say.
I was looking it up, and it's going to be made – a decision will be made right before kickoff.
Yeah, it's a game-time decision. You know what? So you can take
I'm going to go with – no, because I don't want what happened to me. I don't want what happened to Shed happen to me. So I'm going to go with my man, Darren Waller, who I think is the number one pass catcher out of the Giants. I'll take Darren Waller, the tight end of the New York Giants. Shed, it's your turn.
That's interesting. I thought you were going with somebody else. That leaves me an opening here. So I'm going to go with George Kittle. I'm going to snag him up, and then it comes back to me. So it's hard for me to go with an offensive player, especially I was telling you to don't put Daniel Jones in your starting lineup.
Right. And no Saquon.
And no Saquon at all. So I'm gonna say by default, I'm gonna go with I know you guys said don't do this, but I'm gonna go with Matt Breida. Just from the standpoint of receptions. That I think that he can get at least something, right? Even if he doesn't rush for much, he'll get 5 receptions for 50 yards, maybe. Call it a day. I'll be happy with that.
I'm like looking at your face while you made this pick, and it looked like you just bit into an onion. Like you're trying to convince yourself. Yeah.
It was like gritting your teeth. Matt Breida. Ouch.
I can't believe I just made Matt Breida the first pick of the second round. This is probably the highest Matt Breida's ever been drafted.
Yes,
I mean, it's slim pickings. These last 3 picks is a total dart throw.
It's not easy at all. It's not easy. But what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to go ahead and take Isaiah Hodgins. Not that I'm a big believer in the Giants pass offense, but he's going to be the guy who's a short yardage guy. And I think Daniel Jones – it's going to be tough to go down the field. I love Jalen Hyatt. I love Darius Slayton, but Hodgins is a short yardage guy. He's their red zone guy. If they can even get there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Isaiah Hodgins.
Okay. I'm going for the home run hitter right here. There's not much left. With the 7th overall pick, give me Jalen Hyatt, and I'm just hoping for a 70-yard touchdown reception. Give me something. So I'll take Hyatt.
All right, Olu, with the last pick. You got some guys on the board. You got Ayuk on the board. You also got Paris Campbell, Darius Slayton.
Elijah Mitchell.
No, he's taking Ayuk. He's hoping he plays.
He's about to dig deep.
What kind of injury does Ayuk have?
Shoulder injury, game time decision.
Short week.
Yeah.
Olu, do it, Olu. You're taking Juwan Jennings?
Okay.
No, I'm not. I have not. Will said, okay.
It's on the record.
Wait,
Let the
hold
record
on.
show.
Let me see. Hold on.
Juwan Jennings.
Let me see. 1 second.
We will allow you to renege.
Wait, hold on. Let me look. 1 second.
Juwan Jennings. To be honest, I was considering him at 7 over Jalen Hyatt because if Ayuk is out, then Brock Purdy's got to throw the ball somewhere, right?
Does he, though? Does
I'm
he?
going Jennings.
He's
Because
sticking with it.
Juwan Jennings?
injury, you're playing the Giants. Why risk it? Because Giants is the 29th offense point scored in the league. Like I'm looking at it now. The
We know.
29th.
Watch Brandon Ayuk play and get 150 yards. But anyways, guys, that is our single game mock draft. Olu is sitting with Christian McCaffrey and Juwan Jennings. Will has Deebo Samuel. Yeah, I got mind control over Debo. And Jalen Hyatt. I have Darren Waller and Isaiah Hodgins. And Shed has George Kittle and his favorite running back, Matt Breida. But once again, guys, that is the Four Wide Fantasy Podcast.
Let's go.
Season 1, Episode 2, but really our third recording. Thanks so much for stopping in with your hosts, Shed, Olu, Will, and Matt. We will see you next week for another great edition, some hot takes as we look forward to week 4. Have a great one. See you later.